conversation about this man because he's been all over my timeline, all over my mind, all over my business.
Listen, I worked out to the album yesterday, and no matter what song came up, it was great.
Yes, 100%.
It was just great.
So let's talk. We're going to talk about our album breakdown first, and while we go through it, we'll talk about a bunch of other things that have been inserted into the album as
so
we've been
we're
going.
Innovating a little bit.
You know, we're killing multiple birds with stones.
There's a lot.
There's a lot of content.
It's not surprising for Yoongi though, because
absolutely
we know that like when he puts something out, he's like very, very proud of what he's making, and so he's like, I want to give them as much content as I can.
Yes.
So
absolutely. All right, so let's go through this. First up, the album. Let us talk about D-Day first, obviously, because it's the first track on the album. This track, holy moly, it's
so good.
Like, it slaps you in the face.
It went on my hype playlist
hard
as soon as I listened to it.
It's so hard. Like, there are no words. Like, it shakes my entire being. You know when like a song comes on and you're just like, it just hits you like a freight train.
Oh yeah,
that's what it feels like. Yeah. Because to me, like, this entire album is an exploration about feelings and about, you know, letting go and about breaking free from things that have happened in the past. And I think to start an album off with this song that is just full of like, I don't want to say anger because it's not really all angry.
It's a good continuation and starting point for D-Day. It's a good continuation from D1 and D2.
100%.
Because we know that Agust D was born from a place of anger for Yoongi. And so that's like a very good like first point is like the day's here, it's happening. And then knowing all the lore that's behind this album from like the music video, his interviews and everything. That is literally there's no better way to start this album than with 100%. This song.
And as he did his live this morning, he was talking about the fact that like Run BTS, which in one of my playlists, I have Run BTS and this song next to each other, and they match perfectly.
Of course.
Because Run BTS had two different beats going at the same time, and so one of those beats was actually taken and put into D-Day. And as soon as I put those songs together, I was like, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's like putting Dichita and Haegeum like one after the other.
It just works.
It just works so well.
Let me tell you. So it's really interesting. Like, he was talking about how quickly he wrote the song, and like even the lyrics come very like easily. This feels like a pocket song for Agust D. Like, it fits within the realm of like what we're used to with Agust D.
Oh yeah, for sure. It is very, very Agust D, even though like for a lot of people this might not mean a lot, but it means a lot.
It means a lot, 100%, because you know, D-Day as a whole to me is you know, as he said previously, that this is a like completionist to the trilogy, right? So to start off the album with this like huge Agust D punch just makes so much sense. Like, it just makes so much sense.
Just thinking your reactions just at the beginning of the MV for Haegeum, and I'm just like, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. So yeah, we'll go to Haegeum next because that's the second track and the title track of this album specifically. And what a continuation from Dichita. Like, what a hammer.
And like opposite from like D-Day, like he said that D-Day was like really easy for him to write. Haegeum, he had a hard time.
Yeah, he had a very hard time.
A very hard time. And it showed especially in the documentary.
For sure.
Like there's a whole segment of him just cursing and wanting to give up on this song. And I'm so glad he didn't.
I'm so glad he didn't either, because I think it's the perfect title track for this album to sort of finish off this trilogy that we've had especially coming after Deshita. I think it just makes so much sense to have this be the like final chapter to this trilogy and this title track. We did a reaction, which I'll link in the cards above. And my thoughts on it have not changed, especially you know, seeing the music video.
Also, like seeing the music video, and that I know I'm like jumping a little bit, but having seen the AMYGDALA music video,
For sure.
the Haegeum and the Deshita music video makes a lot more sense.
For sure.
A lot more sense. And when we get to talking about AMYGDALA, we'll talk about that.
We'll talk about
more.
That. For sure.
But there's a chronology there that and a cinematography there. I'm sure you ate that up.
Oh, I'm itching, let me tell you. Also with Haegeum, you know, we got the choreography to go along with it, which was very surprising. But I really enjoyed this like really hard hip hop dance that goes along with this. Like,
Yoongi's a bad dancer. Who?
I don't know her. And, you know, he was saying like from this morning's live that like, obviously this choreography is very difficult and it was very difficult for him to complete. But to be honest, I think it fits so well with like the song itself.
It's giving me like hard past the mic vibe, if you get what I mean.
I know what you mean.
And I'm so glad that he was able to like record a challenge with Hobie for TikTok.
Me too.
Before he left.
Yes.
And so right now we have Hobie, Jimin, and 17.
Yeah. Which I'm sure we'll get a couple of more, obviously. They've been doing a trend lately.
He has to go through the hype groups.
Has to. It's tradition at this point.
Yes. Because Hobie did it, Jimin did it, so he has to do it as well.
He has to do it. So yeah, if you want to know more of our thoughts on Haegeum, just go and watch the reaction video because I sort of...
You mean our lack of thoughts on Haegeum? Go watch the MV reaction.
It's true. I also really love, I know I probably mentioned in the music video like very quickly about the symmetry between like the red chopsticks at the beginning and then ending it the same way. That like perfect bookmark together like just cemented it so much more to me.
Listen, this dude be de-wording people with those chopsticks and then 4 minutes later eating with them, you know?
I'm just saying, like, it's a perfect, you know, amalgamation of things that I'm like completely and utterly into, you know?
But
sorry.
Next track is
number 3.
Featuring J-Hope.
J-Hope! Okay, first of all.
My soap part. My favorite subunit. Everybody knows this.
So incredibly happy that we got a track with J-Hope. We had talked about like predictions for this album of what was going to happen, and it was either going to be Namjoon because he was on D2, the previous
Wasn't he
album.
on D1 as well?
Yes. Yes. So
that was our predictions.
We thought
was like,
that
no, fam, we're changing it up. We're going with Hobie.
Fam. So with Yoongi was talking about this morning that he had written down some stuff, but had left the second verse open to somebody to insert into. And since Namjoon was featured on D2, he wanted Hobie to be also featured on the album with a song. So he left that verse empty for him to fill it up with. And I'm just like so incredibly happy that Hobie did this with him. Like, this song is so good.
My soap heart.
Oh, it's so good. Like, I can't. And the lyrics that like Hobie wrote for this particular like verse fit so well into the song.
His verse.
Yeah. It's so different. Like, I almost didn't recognize his voice in the song, to be honest, because it was just such a different tone that we had heard from him before.
Like, recognize him because, I mean, it's Hobie. Like, we know his voice, but it's like such a tone that he like never uses.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh my god.
It's very
that's
true.
That's like Jimin's whole album. You're like,
what?
You need to sing like this more, my guy. You know?
What is going on? And I like I so enjoy like the lyrics of it, of Ha are just so interesting too. This like idea of, I don't know, like fighting and like trying to figure things out,
Yeah.
and like not understanding like this universe as a whole, you know what I mean? Like it's very much this like back and forth conversation, which is why I'm really glad that J-Hope was featured on it, because it feels like a conversation between Yoongi and J-Hope with their verses being back to back. It just makes it so like concise and beautiful together. Oh, it's just, ooh, it's perfect. I love it.
Chef's kiss.
It's one of my favorite songs. Really.
I love that song. Listen.
I
asked Cad, was like, what's your favorite song of the album? And she's like, that's a hard question. I was like, I know. And we both have a tie for first place. And honestly, we both said, like, we texted at the same time, I would make the whole album my first place.
For sure.
So.
Absolutely.
But the next song is AMYGDALA.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come right away and say disclaimer: we will not be making an MV reaction to this music video because of the themes behind it. We will talk about it right now.
Yes. So trigger warning.
But we will not make a music video reaction because we didn't want, like, if something like we got triggered or something like that happened, we would prefer to keep that personal to ourselves.
Yeah, and I also think it's a respect thing for
him
as well,
and for everyone else.
So as we talk about this music video, just trigger warning here for it. If you want to just skip a little bit ahead, I'll put a timestamp of when you can just skip a little bit to the next song that we talk about, which is SDL. So if you want to know our thoughts, you can stay, but if you don't, that's fine. Because I know that this particular topic can be a little triggering.
This song is amazing, but also very heavy.
It's both. So let's talk about it. First of all, this music video is beautifully well shot, like in so many ways. It had I had a lot of intense feelings while watching this. Because like if you guys been on our channel for a while, you know both Jan and I struggle with mental health in different ways. So this video really like hit us pretty hard in that regard, just bringing up certain feelings and certain things. And the fact that Yoongi was so vulnerable to talk about these kind of things with us is very, I feel very honored and very, like my heart is very full for him when talking about this kind of stuff.
I'm not sure if that was kind of the same for you, but listening to the song, like I felt, especially the first time, I felt very emotional even without necessarily knowing the lyrics.
100%.
But then watching the music video and then seeing the lyrics and everything kind of made me relate to how he's been feeling about those bad memories and traumas that he's been through.
For sure.
And as much as it's sad and like very difficult to like bear with, it's also somewhat reassuring in another way because he was like very strong in sharing this with us.
For sure.
And with the world. And then it's just like somewhat comforting at the same time.
Yeah, I think, you know, like he talked about with Namjoon on Soshita that you know, we share our emotions and feelings because people who watch our music, like ARMY, particularly have the same feelings and they give us great comfort. So when they talk about it, we have the ability to also have a conversation about it. And I saw a lot of discourse online, like on my timeline as well, about the fact that they are so open and honest with their feelings that it makes us be open and honest with our feelings and really confront them sometimes. Like for me, I've told my story of how I got into BTS is I was having a very hard time and their music was the only thing that could reach me and like, I don't want to say fix me, but like be able to touch me in a way that nobody else could.
Yeah, no one could.
And I'm the type of person, like, I don't like talking about my feelings a lot. Like, I really don't. It's like a thing that I'm trying to work on, but it's just something I don't like to confront, or like, especially bad feelings or sad feelings, because
they're the worst. Let's be real.
They're the worst. And for me, I'm like, what do I have to be sad about? What do I have to, like, it's that kind of like back and forth in my brain.
Yeah, it's just like, why do I have to, like, why do I feel bad about this? Like, people have it so much worse than me. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I've had that same conversation with myself basically daily.
Yeah, and the fact that, you know, like, BTS is willing to confront their feelings and like share it in an art form that's like, I don't want to say easily digestible, because that's not really what I'm getting at, but it's in a format that we can all understand regardless of what language it's in, what visuals are there. Like, we can all understand the feelings that are associated with it.
Yeah, you can interpret it as your own and deal with it as you wish, really.
100%. And you know, this particular, like, the title of the track is like multi-layered in a bunch of different ways, because the amygdala is an actual almond shaped structure that lies within your brain, and it's basically it's in control of like your emotional state, or like emotions that are tied to things, which is interesting. So it's like emotion, behavior, and memory. Those are the three things associated with it. So like when you have a traumatic event, many things can like trigger those things to come back in your mind, and you can't sometimes you don't even know
that's a part of your brain that will literally like protect you from those memories.
Yeah, exactly. And so it also like has a contributing factor to reactions to stress, attention, that kind of stuff. And it makes sense within the context of this particular music video, because, you know, without even maybe intending to think about your trauma, it has this way of like coming up and like hitting you even when you don't mean to be like thinking about it or mean to be triggering it. Because as much as we like try to ignore our trauma or fix our trauma or talk about it, it doesn't mean that it's never going to go away. But when we learn to have coping mechanisms and like be able to, you know, push through those like traumatic events, that's when we can like get to the other side. And I think that's what Yoongi's trying to say. Like, even this metaphor of like the scar that he gives himself, and then we watch like Dishita and it's still there, and it's still very much like red and swollen and not completely healed, and then you get to Haegeum and it's like healed. It's, you know, the scar is never going away.
Just him also just trying to kill that version of himself throughout Dishita and Haegeum is like a very good representation of like trying to deal with those emotions, but it's not necessarily the right way in a way.
It's like you're trying to dismiss them or like shove them off to the side, and that it's, for some people that's helpful, myself, but
sorry,
but a lot of the time, unfortunately, as much as you push those emotions down and you keep them away, they always have a way of coming back. And usually, kind of in Haegeum, they come back stronger and they try to take over you. So, you know, I think he beautifully had captured this sense of, you know, feeling these scars and feeling utterly alone in this struggle, because like he didn't even tell his members when this accident had happened. He told them like down the line. And if you don't know, the reason that Yoongi like had his shoulder surgery is because he got into an accident on his motorbike while he was delivering. He used to be a food delivery person, and so he was delivering something and it was very slippery and he crashed into another vehicle, and that's how he had hurt his shoulder. at the time he didn't want to tell anybody because it's this hindrance of like, what am I going to do? My future is ruined.
Yeah, he was still a trainee when it happened.
Yeah, and so it's this like immediate fear of like, I can't tell anybody that this happened, even though like that's a huge like impact, even if you don't mean it to be.
Yeah. I mean, he suffered and worked through it for so long.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's lots of symbolism in this music video as well, because the AMYGDALA, sorry, is almond shaped. So you can see him throughout the music video eating almonds, where he's basically trying to like eat his emotions and like push them down and like destroy them in the
that's
music
a way
video.
to eat your emotions.
Yeah. And this particular almond-shaped structure in your brain is also associated with depression and anxiety, and you know, the things like sleep debt and anger are all sort of like associated with this like little tiny almond-shaped structure inside of your brain.
I wish it would stop.
I know, I do too.
Can I not?
Can I not?
But also, he looked great. Still some tangerines.
Yeah. To me, it's interesting because I think this is and he said as much in the live of like, this is a precursor to Deshita and then Haegeum afterwards, because in the music video, you can see that he doesn't actually reach his shadow self. Like he doesn't actually make it through the door. So like just symbolism upon symbolism upon symbolism, and I could talk about this music video for hours because
he does it in such a smart way. Like,
yeah,
it's incredible.
And again, like lyrically and musically, it's definitely a switch of what we've seen from him in the past, especially with the lyrical content. You know, he's always been an open person to us. He's always been very upfront with his emotions, like to us specifically. And I think throughout the last two albums, we've seen like the anger and the frustration and the depression, but I don't think we've ever seen this vulnerability level from him before. And it's just so refreshing to see these conversations happening.
Absolutely.
And it's really refreshing too, because like even on my timeline of people having a discourse about mental health and like relieving that stigma from talking about it, he just like opened the door for these conversations to happen, and I love him for that wholeheartedly.
Also, can we talk about, or at least mention real quick, how amazing his vocals are in that song?
So good. So good.
People said he couldn't sing. Excuse me?
Lies. I think too, he also got inspiration. If you watched In the Soup part 2, season 2, I think. Namjoon and him actually read a book, which I own. It's called Almond as well. And it has a very similar premise to what the song is. The character within the book is going through a lot of mental health things. And I haven't had a chance to read it, but it's definitely going to be on my like next reading list. So if you want to know my thoughts about this book, let me know down below and I'll do like a Instagram story or something. But anyway, I could talk about this song for like hours, because
I mean, to be fair, same.
I find it fascinating that BTS has this really intellectual level that they love to share with us, and layer it within their music and within their music videos. It's just so beautiful that they want to share this art with us, and that we get to like enjoy it and take it in and heal from it.
Yeah.
It's just such a beautiful relationship that we have with
like
them.
If I'm gonna heal, you're gonna heal with me, fam.
And you know, he said as much
sorry, this is how I cope with bad emotions.
I love it. You know, he said as much in Seshita about you know, we want to make music forever because we help people and we make them happy, And I don't disagree with that sentiment. I am a much better person because I know BTS and because I'm at ARMY. Like,
same, for sure.
Wholeheartedly, I believe that.
I was talking with you yesterday, and I was like, I don't think I would be the same if I had met like so many wonderful people through this fandom.
Oh yeah, I don't think I would be here at all without BTS. So, yeah, those are my thoughts. Let us know down below what you thought of that music video. Again, we're not going to do a reaction because it's a respectful thing for him to just, that music video wasn't meant for like streaming or for views or anything like that. It was between Agust D and ARMY, and that's it. And I honestly think he made that for himself too.
Oh,
because as we slide into the next
because he is still trying to heal with all of these memories that he shared with us. So.
100%. And as we slide into the next song, which is track 5, the middle of the album, SLD. This is
SDL.
SDL. God. I've been up too late most days.
Listen, I understand.
All right. SDL is the middle track of this album. So as he said, it's kind of a reset for this album, right? Like we've gone through this like sort of like, even though we haven't had 7 stages, it's basically the 7 stages of grief.
This bit of anger.
Yes, yeah. And you know, so it's functioning as a transition track into you know, People, Polar Night, Interlude. Like it's a nice segue into what we're about to
because the first like 4 songs are a lot like harder and harder punching than the rest of the album.
Sure. Yeah, so and this track
is a nice separation.
Exactly, yeah, because this song is particularly like lighthearted. It's very like, even instrumentally and vocally, it's very like light and airy. It's got this like beautiful sort of calming nature to it. There isn't a lot of like bass and like drum. It's very like, it's very light. It's very airy. I really love this track, actually. Like, it's super calming for some reason.
Yeah, that is true.
Like, I don't know if it's maybe like the beats per minute that's making, like, it lowers my heart rate for some reason, and it makes me like very calm and chill, which obviously was the intention, clearly.
It's such like a departure from
100%.
the 4 tracks before.
100%. Which is why
so different.
It's perfectly middle ground to these other ones. Even like lyrical content wise, it's very like, even though it's still serious, it takes a lighter tone to the serious nature of this album, which I love, because the transition from this song into People is perfect. Like, that's the perfect transition between those two songs.
People Part 2, we won't like get back into it because we've already done so in the like, I think it was the last video actually, or
yes
that, so
yeah and of course, like, you know, we love
People Part 2.
We love People Part 2. You guys know this. It's like, it's amazing. Go watch our reaction video if you want to know more. Anyway, let's move on then to Polar Night. Whoa. I have so many thoughts. What is this song? So many questions, so many thoughts.
When you watch the documentary, you'll see that even like how it was made was kind of a
yeah, because that's how it feels. Like, this is a complete departure from the Agust D that I know and love. And I am in love with this version of Agust D.
It makes so much sense.
It makes so much sense. It makes so much sense within this album. Being the 7th track, honestly, like, it couldn't have been perfect enough. I'm gonna tell you right now. Yeah. Like, 7th track, it is a perfect transition from People Part 2 as well. I really just enjoy this beautifully, like, it's not calming, but there's something about it that I like can't put my finger on. You know what I mean?
It scratches an itch that
yeah, like that part of my brain that we talked about before, that's where it's itching right now, like that, like, and it calms that part of my brain. Like, it makes me turn off all of like like all of the thoughts that are like whizzing around in my brain completely cease to exist.
Absolutely.
When this song is on. And I don't know how he did this. Like, I'm genuinely baffled.
That's how I feel for the next track, Interlude Dawn.
So Interlude Dawn is very interesting based on what we talked about what he talked about this morning on his live. Interlude Dawn, he made it because it's a part of Snooze, which we'll talk about in a second. It's reversed from that track, so it's
you can tell that
you can tell. Yeah. I'm like,
have you listened to Interlude Dawn in the shower?
No, I need to now.
Do it. It's so relaxing.
I'm excited.
It's so relaxing.
Cannot wait. It's very relaxing. There's like, again,
it's probably my favorite interlude ever.
It's got something that like I can't put my finger on, and it might be because it feels like crack. Yeah, like it. Maybe it's because it's taken from Snooze and it like is reversed and changed, but there's something about it that like feels so new and fresh. And again, it's like a perfect interlude between Polar Night and Snooze. So let's talk about Snooze, because holy shitballs, this song. My God, I love this song so much. I can't stop listening to it. I literally can't. The fact that he wrote this song in a hospital where he's like getting an IV and it's like dripping through. Honestly, I want this song injected into my veins. Like, that's how it feels.
Yeah.
That's how it feels. And
put it in my insulin and I'll inject it right away. Listen, I'll do it.
And Woo Song, like, oh my God, his voice just ascends into like the stratosphere.
Listen, I ascend when I listen to it. I'm like, gone.
And I love how like he took this song as like he was thinking about like what would comfort him in that time that he was in the hospital, and the fact that he wrote this song from the fact that he wanted to comfort himself is beautiful. That is a beautiful sentiment. I can't express how much I love this song, because it feels like a warm hug that you're like getting injected into your soul. And it's, again, it like tickles that like right part of your brain where you just feel at peace. And I think like he does as well.
But also like the whole part where they keep repeating dream is like bringing me back to his interlude in D1, which is interlude dream reality. It's like the same tone, the same cadence. And I'm just like,
and it really feels like you're in this sort of like dream sequence, like the entire world.
I mean, I don't know, he has said, it's like in the documentary he did before, like when he writes songs for like his solo work, one of his like main motivation is to write about dreams. And so so it makes so much sense. And I mean, we kind of were able to see it throughout the two mixtapes and this album. And there was a part in the documentary, it was like, I love writing about dreams, but I'm kind of at a point where it feels like I don't have any anymore. And you can feel it, because that song was written in the hope that like younger artists will not give up on these dreams that he once had.
Yeah.
And it's so brilliant. It's so
100%
well crafted, and the emotions are pulling through.
Yeah.
And like, even if you're not necessarily an artist, like the whole part where it's like, it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be okay, can be applied to literally anyone that is struggling with anything.
100%.
And you can 100% feel it.
Oh, for sure.
It's very comforting.
It's very comforting and very powerful. The way that he is able to take whatever kind of topic he's thinking of and be able to put it lyrically into this beautiful musicality that just makes sense and can like hit you in the places that you need to hear it. that's what makes him such a brilliant person. And like, obviously we're not the first ones to call him brilliant. There's many artists that call him brilliant.
Yeah.
But it just makes him a brilliant artist who's able to take his emotions, his feelings, his thoughts, whatever he wants, and mold it and craft it in whatever way he wants. And it's brilliant, genuinely. Like, I am always amazed by his level of intelligence and the way that he is able to make art from it. It's amazing. Like, it's a reason why him and Namjoon are like the main.
They take my breath away with how like intelligently like they are able to like make music.
100%. And the level of detail is incredible. Like the title of the tracks, the way that these albums are like put together, how he's mixing them and producing them and putting instrumentation and vocal qualities together, like it's incredible. His mind is like limitless.
It's his mind's beautiful.
Oh yeah. And I'm so glad that we like genuinely, like, thank God we were born in the same generation as BTS.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
Like, my God. Like, I'm so glad we get to
how lucky are we?
Incredibly lucky that we get to experience these things. And to end this album, I think with
last but certainly not least,
Life Goes On, Yoongi edition, Agust D
when
edition.
the music started, I started tearing up.
100%.
Because it's such like it's the best way to end this album.
Oh, for sure. Because like as a whole, this album really has the feeling of like, shit happened. I'm working through it. I'm trying to work through it. Life will go on and I will be okay.
For me, it's giving me like the same kind of like hope and comfort that B did.
Yeah.
But with a bigger punch in the gut. You know?
100%. Yeah, because it's tailored personally to Suga's experiences, right?
It's just like those difficulties you have. I'm not gonna go around. I'm just gonna
like hit you right in the face with it. And again, like Life Goes On to end this album, like after Snooze, where we've gotten this like calming, like dream-like sequence. It's like, no, life goes on. It's gonna be okay. We're gonna get through it. Everything will work out the way that it needs to, I think is like the perfect way to end this album.
Yeah.
Honestly. Like
there's like his vocals, his rap, everything is beautiful about that song.
It's so good. Like Life Goes On will always be a really special song to me, in many ways, like not just one.
Literally have it tattooed on my arm.
And I think for like the two of us, it also like holds a really special place for the two of us together because that was our first comeback together. Yeah. So to end the album with that song, it's perfect. I love it. Yeah. Min Yoongi, Agust D.
You Suga. Did it again, my guy.
You did it again. There is just like we've only like touched a little bit of part about this album because I really truly think that you need to go and like listen to the whole thing top to bottom. You need to go
explore it.
Explore it, like read all the lyrics, really just absorb yourself within these albums, and then go and listen to Indigo and Jack in the Box and Face, and just really like appreciate the amount of effort and work that our men are putting into their music, because it's incredible.
Also, if you want to do something freaking cool, you put D1, D2, and D-Day in one playlist and then listen to it back to back, because now that Agust D, like the song, is on Spotify, do it.
It hits, let me tell you.
Do it. And listen to it in order, even.
Yeah, listen to it in order. I do have a playlist that has the entire 3 albums, plus a little bit of Suga sprinkled in there. It's called Agust D with a little bit of Suga, so enjoy that playlist. But yeah, this was our breakdown of the album. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let us know what your favorite songs are off the album. We already have our favorites, clearly. And we'll talk more about that in our songs of the week.
Listen, it was really hard because I
It
kept
was
going back and
so
forth.
hard.
It kept going back and forth because
I
to
know.
me, like the same thing when like D2 came out, I was like the whole album is my favorite.
I know. And we already had like a song breakdown where we had a really hard time picking our favorite songs, so just saying.
Just made it more difficult.
It just made it more difficult. Anyway,
listen,
so
I'm dreading like a couple months when you do our TXT song breakdown. That's also gonna be really hard.
Oh, you have no idea. I'm nervous. I'm scared.
Look forward to that, guys.
Anyway, so we were throughout the album breakdown, we were talking about his live this morning. He like obviously like went through his own thoughts about the album. We've like sprinkled it in here, but definitely go and rewatch it because he clearly had a vision for this entirety of the album. And I think like go and listen to the album first, absorb it.
It's just nice listening to his voice.
It's really nice. He's got such a soothing voice. Like, I don't know what it is. I absolutely love it. You know, he was talking about a lot of things that he wanted to do. And doing like a tour by himself is extremely terrifying.
He's the first one to do it.
He's the first one to do it. And obviously, like, I'm looking forward to seeing him. I'm seeing him twice in LA. Once May 11th and then the other one on May 14th. So if you guys see me, come and say hi. Because I'd love to say hi to you guys. But I'm really
I'll be home in the Midwest.
I'm really looking forward to like seeing this experience live and like listening to these songs live.
Listen, I cannot wait to see the photos.
I'm gonna be screaming the whole time.
What you pick out for me.
Oh yes.
And
the concert
experience. Yeah, I'm excited for everything. Because you know with those things I just live vicariously through you.
Yes, true. True.
Until I can finally work again.
Yeah. I'm looking incredibly forward to it. I'm like just buzzing with excitement right now. And I'm sure that he is too, because his first date, I believe, is tonight.
Yes.
Yeah.
And apparently there's already merch sold out.
Yeah, there is. It makes me nervous.
Yeah, let me
the
guitar pick and the baseball hat were sold out by
it was pretty early.
2:14 p.m. CST.
Whoops.
So, it is what it is.
Whoopsie daisies.
Oopsie. I know the guitar pick will be sold out like every single day.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's one of those things that's gonna. I want it, but like it's gonna be sold out.
But the Soul concert will be an online show.
Yes.
So if you're not able to attend,
you can watch
this is definitely an option for you.
Yeah.
They're always like a super good time.
Yeah.
Like we've done online concerts like multiple times.
Yeah.
And they're always super fun.
Always, yeah.
The only like mad thing is because it's the Soul concert that's being live streamed. Be ready to be up early or not go to bed.
Yes, this is very true. It's gonna be early times for us.
Yeah.
But you know what? At least they're doing it. I was hoping that they would do an online streaming event for the show. So I'm really glad that they're taking these opportunities to add
the
live streaming
for that yet?
Not yet. No, tickets have not dropped for that. We also got like a bunch of different like trailers and stuff. The trailer for the concert has been out. It's very interesting. I don't know what this concert is going to entail. I know that there's going to be obviously dancing because he's been doing a lot of choreo, and we have choreo for Haegeum, so I don't know what's going to go on with that. There was also this really cute Road to Army one that is the most hilarious thing ever.
Oh my god.
It's so funny. It's so funny. Also Jimin making an appearance in there just like sent me into another dimension, I'll tell you. So funny.
The Yoonmin married couple, I swear to God.
I swear. We got the behind the scenes of Haegeum as well. We talked about that a little bit, but you know.
Yeah, the dance practice we talked about.
Yeah. So let's talk about Shita with Namjoon
Junie was
interviewing
so
AgustD.
done with Yoongi, I swear.
So funny. So funny. That one clip of Yoongi doing this and him just being like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, or like him doing the sorry I'm cute challenge and he was like, why? This is so annoying.
Yeah. I literally that's my when I talk about BTS, that's my brother's reaction. He's just like, it's the eye emoji with the lips in the middle. That's what he does. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about, but sure. Live your dreams, bestie.
Yeah, that's Jacob as well. He's like, okay, that's cool.
Okay, great. You know, they talked about a bunch of different things in there. It's a really good episode to watch. Because
I mean, it's always like a good dynamic with Junie and Yuki. So
yeah. You know, they were talking about that they want to do like music forever, and Yoongi complimenting Namjoon about being a great leader, and you know how they want to continue to make music and continue to be this sort of like light force for people to be able to relate to them and be able to find comfort within their songs. And we've talked about this, that it's always, they always know what to say and when to say it and how to reach people even when they're unreachable. And if my experience tells you anything, that's 100% facts.
Yeah,
100%. So I really enjoyed this episode, and honestly, nobody but Junie could have interviewed for the AgustD edition of Sushita.
Yeah.
And we also got the trailer for episode 10. I wonder who's gonna be on it.
Listen, it's so difficult to find out.
It's Wooshie. If you didn't know, it's Wooshie. So the great
it's
thing,
Wooshie of 17.
Wooshie of 17, let's go. So I'm really excited about this because Woozie's also a producer for 17 and for just in general. And I think that'll be a really fascinating episode because, as you all know, he produces his own albums. He produces a lot of BTS's songs and albums. Like, if you see the credit list, it's literally Hobi, Junie, and Yoongi. Like, those are the 3 credits for all of their albums. I'm just saying. So I'm interested to see.
It's just like Woozie for 17.
Pretty much.
Like the credits on every album.
He's on like all their albums. So I'm really interested to see them talk about producing and like how they produce each other, like the albums and stuff. I think it'll be a really fascinating episode, and I cannot wait to see what is going to happen with that.
Gonna be great for sure.
And then the last thing we got to talk about with AgustD is he will be on Jimmy Fallon. Thank God. Praise Jimmy Fallon. We love you.
We love Jimmy Fallon.
So he will be on May 1st. He will do a talk and a performance of Haegeum, I'm pretty sure. So it'll be just like Jimin's face, but with obviously Yoongi, which I'm excited about. I can't wait. And he's going to be in person as well because he's already in New York for the New York shows that start tonight. So anyway,